Dog fans, it's time to hunker down. He's Jake Trash Panda Skinner. I'm Jeremy the Impact York. This is Impact Media's weekly walk right through the hedges into the world of UGA football. We got a lot to talk about, but first, as always, how are you, Jake?
I'm alive. It's Monday. I survived somehow. I don't know about you.
I'm right there with you. I'm tired, but I'll get over it.
Fair enough.
It seems
I'll
seems
sleep
like I
sleep
just
when
stay
you're
going.
dead.
Yeah, pretty much. It might be the only time I do.
Fair. Feel you.
But as we said, there is a lot to get to and a short time to get there. Uh, so let's jump right into it. Let's talk about this
Run, Brock
game.
Bowers, run.
Might as well at this point,
Yeah.
because Brock Bowers uh, basically
Put him.
looked at the Auburn
Just give
sideline
him
and
the
said, "Oh,
Heisman.
look at this stuffed tiger. That's cute. Get out of my way."
Yeah.
It was the Brock
Just
Bowers show, pretty much majority of the day,
fourth
and
quarter for sure.
oh
That's where he
yeah,
had his biggest game.
oh yeah, 8 catches, 157 yards. That's a 19.6 average, which is I don't know,
Yes.
Madden like, NCAA football like. And he had the touchdown. He had the only touchdown that Carson Beck threw, but I'm going to defend Carson Beck, but then we're going to go back to Brock Bowers. I'm going to defend
Sure.
him because Carson actually had a pretty solid game. I can't say a lot bad about his game.
No.
23 of 33 for 313. Granted,
Mm-hmm.
as we said, over half of that went, or almost half of that went to Brock Bowers, but one touchdown, just the one interception. I mean, dog fans, this is pretty
This is the
close to
quarterback.
what you get from Carson Beck, and that's not a bad thing.
No, it's not. And like those numbers you're talking about, second half, he went 16 of 20 for 241 and a touchdown.
Yeah.
And also he was 6 of 7 6 of 7 on third downs.
Hmm.
You can't ask for anything better. That's elite quarterback play. This game, again, for the second or third week in a row, I'll call it again. This is still the Missouri game over and over and over again.
Hmm.
Georgia still doesn't know who they are. They don't know what this team is, and these players have got to wake up. They've got to call it. They got to find out who they are, or just say, you know what, we got to stop. Just you know. But Carson's the quarterback. Georgia let him, even though we could have ran the ball in that second half more and
Yeah.
still won the game, I think. If we call the right running plays, we'll get to that. Carson was the guy that Bobo and Kirby said, look, balls in your hands, go win a football game. And I think that gave him the confidence they were looking for.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think confidence is the word. It seemed like Carson was finding the confidence that you've been hoping all year that he would not only like just grab a hold of, but actually embrace it and use it.
Hmm.
There's been other times he's kind of been confident, but it just seemed like he was playing more of his style of game, and it showed.
Oh, it did. He made some great plays. I mean, yeah, it helps when Bowers is making one-handed catch after one-handed catch across the
Yeah,
middle. But the whole team, like, other that pick, I watched that play a few times, and I can't be mad at him. That is a
no.
defender who got lucky to jump around a guy. Jack Saint should have covered it more. He tried to catch it here. It is what it is. I'm not going to sit here and cry foul, but that turnovers are what killed us, and
Hmm.
it's not Beck's fault.
No.
That's on his guys that need to do better. This team just too many dumb mistakes.
Yeah, and I was at a shindig that followed another shindig I was at. Uh, and it was majority UGA fans, and it was me, and
Hmm.
it was an Alabama fan, and so of course that's who I was sitting beside, and we were having fun messing with the UGA fans, but we did let it known that no, we do want you guys to win this game, and when our teams aren't in it, that we do want Georgia to do well, we want Tech to do well, we want the local teams to do well, but um, when he threw that pick, obviously there was a little bit of an uproar from all the bigger dog fans around me. But I said I can't be mad at him for that. That's just a good defensive play. I
Hmm.
got to give it to the DB. He actually just outplayed the moment. It wasn't the throw.
Yeah.
If anything, it was more on the receiver that the DB beat him.
Yeah. That's just it's a learning lesson. This whole season so far has been a learning lesson. I don't know if this team is not looking like a championship caliber football team,
Not yet.
but they keep coming. They're not yet, but they keep coming back from behind.
Hmm.
All I gotta say is I would rather have a team, excuse me, that has to fight and scrap than that Ohio State team that rolls through 12, 13 games a year, blowing everyone else
Hmm.
42-7. would I like to see that? Honestly, yes, I would like to see my team steamroll them. But Kirby knows you can't just steamroll everybody and expect to be ready when the moment that comes to you.
You have to find multiple ways to win, and this team is showing you it can do it defensively, it can
Hmm.
do it offensively, multiple ways. It can, control the clock and win. It can win on special teams even because it's a pretty special teams that they have there, and you got to win
Oh yeah,
multiple ways. This Georgia team can.
they definitely can. But they can win in different ways. But some of the stuff that they need to work on, man. Like, um, I'm gonna say something that I'm gonna be honest. Going forward. Bobo's got to show something else. Like I've been giving him credit because he deserves it. It's his first year
Mhm.
as a coordinator again. But the problem is, unless they're doing the Todd Munkin long con that I've mentioned to you before, he doesn't feel like he's attacking weaknesses left and right. He feels
Right.
like he's just throwing his head into a brick wall, saying, "I'm going to beat you up. I'm going to maul over you." He doesn't have the offensive line. Georgia's offensive line is the worst of the 3 years that we've had, and they're still better than some of the other teams out there. They just don't. The right side, which is our seniors or our senior, Tate Ratledge, who I love. Tate is killing us. He's great at passing blocking. Can't block a run. Can't get anything out there. So I don't know if Bobo doesn't trust his guys, but Georgia is better with gap blocking schemes compared to zone blocking,
Hmm.
and gap is easier technically for your running back because the zone you got to watch two or three different ways, and with a gap you just have A, B, C gap, whatever gap you want to call it, and you hit that hole and you go. It's easier for young backs. Well, that's all Georgia has right now is young running backs that are still
Hmm.
learning. So what's Dyson Edwards having to do? Learn to do the things he doesn't feel comfortable with yet with an offensive line that can barely do that style of running. So we keep just throwing ourselves. It's like run a gap scheme because the same thing happened last year. Georgia sucked at Missouri because we ran the zone. We switched to gap and Georgia took over that game by running the football. This year, I don't know what's going on, if it's just injuries, if we don't trust our guys, but I will say Bobo needs to figure out that run game in his offensive line and just go ahead and say, look, here's what we got to do. But I will say that man can scheme a wide receiver open and have so much room that he's up there just going, I'm right here. You know, like
It's
it's
like
just
it's like where's Waldo in Oklahoma? He's just out in the middle of a
he's just
desert,
exactly.
all by himself.
Now I was gonna say something about Tanya Harding and a ice skate, but but he
Too
is
soon.
wide
Too soon.
too soon. He is way too. He's got like I watched a few plays. I'm like, how is that guy open? And there was a Brock Bowers first down catch that I think Raw was wide open behind the defense,
Oh yeah.
like easy pitch and catch, and Bowers just didn't have time to look that route. I'm like, we got guys open.
Yeah.
Bobo's got it. We just something's up with that line, and I don't know if he's trying to force those guys to grow up or if
Maybe.
he's trying to for it. But somebody also said that it just feels like this whole team is playing too passive on most plays, and then they play too aggressive to counteract it because they're scared. It's like they're afraid to let the previous teams down by not winning that third title in a row. And I told my dad, I'm like, I'd almost hope for a loss at this point. Not that I want one, but you would hope a close loss or get humbled to make this team wake up and go, are you listening? You're not good. Figure it out. Georgia got humbled by Bama. What did they do in that title game? They took it to Bama second half. So teams got a lot to go. Defense got outcoached. Kirby got outcoached this last Saturday.
Yeah, I would say that. And before I get into defending Beck again on something and another guy, I don't think they need to be defended, but I've heard a little bit here and there.
Hmm.
We'll talk a little bit later in the show about maybe a possible loss coming up because I think there is one. There could. I think there's going to be one. I don't think there's going to be more than that. But we'll talk
Hmm.
about that in a minute. Right now, I want to defend Carson Beck a little bit on this. Uh, Mike Bobo a little bit. I guess I'll throw him in as well. But we got to see Ladd McConkey back. Now, some people were like, well, he only had 4 catches for 38 yards, and he was really a non-factor. Here's where I'm going to defend
Hmm.
all 3 of those people. They have gotten so used to him not being there this week that Beck is used to looking for Ra Thomas, for Dominic Lovett, for Delp, for Bowers, for Rosemy Jack Saint. He's so used to looking for
Hmm.
anybody but Ladd McConkey that they're having to ease him back into the system. You can't automatically go, okay,
No, you can't.
we need you to do that again. It's like, no, you have to get him used to it because there was a lot of times that Ladd McConkey was wide open as well. And he was like, I was open for 15 yards. I finally had to come back to the ball, and we only got 7. And he looked a little frustrated, but it seemed like even Bobo kind of looked at him and said, "We're working you back in. He's not used to looking for you. Give it a week or so, and he's going to be finding you down the field."
Exactly. And McConkey's that one who you can always trust to make a catch. Last year, he struggled with making catches, but Stetson kept throwing to him because he's like, I trust you. We need you to be you.
Mm-hmm.
McConkey, and as Graham Coffey put it, McConkey was the lubricant to keep drives going. He didn't have much, but the fact of the matter is he still put up good numbers on the catches he got. Ease him back in. Georgia needs McConkey because he just gets space. And Thomas was open behind the secondary.
Mm-hmm.
You had McConkey getting open. Rosemary Jack Saint had a step on some people who's finally learning to get a step on people. Lovett didn't have the best game, but Lovett was open. Like Georgia has guys getting open left and right. It's just you got to see them, but you also got to have a line that can do it. And to your credit with Beck took some hits, and Beck
Oh
stayed in
yeah.
that pocket delivering throws no matter what. I think that was a grow up game for him and those receivers. I think you're going to look at it and say feed Bowers and feed and once instead of trying to feed off of the run, feed off the pass, get your
Mm-hmm.
screen game going because we had no screen game. That's part of our run game. Something to me screams that this is Kirby and his guys letting themselves be outcoached a little bit to show the players that we're more talented, but it's still going to take a little bit of listening to us and quit trying to be nervous. Because to get to the point I'll get to in a minute about defense, it's just Georgia's got to do something when it comes to waking up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it's going to take at this point. Maybe that Missouri or that Kentucky team coming up.
Maybe the ice bucket challenge would wake him up.
They need something stronger than that.
Wasn't that what it was called? It was called
The
something.
ice bucket challenge, yeah.
Okay, I remember that. Yeah, let's swap to the defense for a minute. We can always circle back if we need to. Shout out Xavier Sorley Jr. and Tyke Smith for the sacks that they had. They were very timely, very very well placed as to when they happened. It did help turn the game a little bit, but
Hmm.
uh, Smell Mondon Jr. had a heck of a game.
He
11
did.
total tackles, 7 on his own, 2 tackles for a loss. One of those was a sack. Javon Bullard had a bunch of tackles as well, but Smell
Hmm.
Mondon Jr. was the guy this week that stepped up that we didn't think was going to step up, and he stepped up and
Yeah,
showed everybody he can do it.
he can, but the problem there's a caveat. He was out of position half the time.
Oh yeah.
Him, hit both of our linebackers, him and Jamon Dumas Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
were chasing after the quarterback. They were either too aggressive and let someone go by them, or they were too passive and I saw one play where they both shifted across the middle. Quarterback goes this way, and it's like you both know not to do that. How did both of you fall into that trap? Don't know what's going on with those two. Something they're waking. Maybe they'll wake up. They're definitely are not the talent we need it right there. We don't. We definitely miss having a Nakobe Dean.
Mm-hmm.
Back there. Like those two guys did it last year. They were good. They've struggled this past game. They've been playing great till this game. So they're out of position. And one thing, Georgia, if you watch that defense, that Georgia has been good at. Kirby says you will not run on us. They ran on Georgia 43 times for 219 yards, but one of
Oh
those
yeah.
runs was a 61-yarder. So you take that away, those numbers come tumbling down. So I'll give them a pass, but nonetheless, outside of that, the problem is Georgia's not setting an edge now.
Right.
Last year you had Nolan Smith. Even when he was there the years before, you had Nolan Smith setting the edge on one side, and on the other side you had Michael Williams, you had Trayvon Walker, you had Jalen Carter sliding over for that role. You had a guy who don't run his way, do not go near him, go the other way. What happened when you ran the other way? Nolan Smith was waiting for you.
Yep.
Chaz Chambliss is not making those plays. Sorry, Carlton people, but Chaz he's reverted back to last year's form of how do I set an edge? I don't know what I'm doing. He's caving in too quickly, or he's getting bodied. He's not
He
doing it, and our
he
other
did
guys aren't ready.
he did double his usual tackle output this week. He
Two,
did. He had 2.
he had two.
He had 2. One was by himself, and it was part of getting a tackle for a loss that he split with another player. So,
Yeah, I
at
mean
least he was in the backfield this time.
he was in the backfield. It's just it's little dumb mistakes they shouldn't be making. They're coached better than that.
Hmm.
Schumann, Smart, and Muschamp, they're too good. They're too good at coaches to let this happen game in and game out. So I think they might have. I choose to believe that they let themselves be out coached a little bit and some of the stuff get their players to see how their players would react. They're trying to learn who this team is because they still don't know either.
Right.
All they know is they know how to come back and win and shut someone down when they have to. But can they do that for a full 4 quarters and go out and win a ball game 65-7, like the national title game? This team ain't there yet.
I mean, just think about these numbers. Peyton Thorne, who is the quarterback for Auburn, was 10 for 19 for 82 yards and an interception. Peyton Thorne also was the leading rusher, 12 carries for 92 yards. They had
Mm-hmm.
Jarquez Hunter, their number one runner, 19 carries for 59 yards. And
14
yet,
yard rushing touchdown, that one
yep,
touchdown, that long
and
run.
Ashford had the other one. And yet the game was 27-20 and was only iced late in the ball game. How do you let Auburn score 20 points when their quarterback throws for 82 yards and an interception,
Mm-hmm.
and their leading rusher is a quarterback and who has 92 yards, 59 for your top actual running back? That's, like you said, it's those mistakes. Without
It's
those
those
mistakes,
mistakes.
this is
I did
45
call
to
it
10.
though. I did say Georgia would stop the pass game.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't say
Oh yeah.
they'd stop the rushing quarterback. It's mind-boggling to see this team play this way. I'm still not stressed yet. This is the first year I can say that I'm not Munsoning every game. I just look and go, okay, I'm texting my friends because I won't lie. Like this past Saturday, I was in and out of watching the game on my phone because I was out driving my mom and my friend around and just all over the place. I was like, you know what? Put the game up, had it earbud in, listening to it, and just was like, what's going on? Like texting people, and it's just a lot of people were panicking. I got my
Yeah.
grandfather going, what's wrong? What's wrong? My dad's going, all right, I'm Munsoning. I got a
Yep.
friend going, get rid of those turnovers, and Georgia's already up big
Oh
right
yeah.
now. It's just they're not playing bad. They're just not playing up to their standard.
Exactly.
So
Shout out to all the amazing people in your family and the friends you were hanging out with this week, because it wasn't us. We were in different directions, so it wasn't
yeah,
us. Like I said, I was at one shindig. You were doing some other shindigs. So shout out to all those people because I know they actually watch this show. So I just want to make
oh
sure
yeah,
they know they are appreciated.
they are. Thanks for putting up with me and not getting to watch as often as I'd like to this year. But hey, at least I go watch it on Monday. But no,
Hey, exactly.
Yeah, Georgia's got to figure themselves out. They're close. They're just not as close as I'd like to see them. Um, Definitely can say with the schedule they got coming up, it's time to shut up or put up, as they say. So I think Kentucky is going to be a team that's really going to push some
Hmm.
buttons this coming Saturday.
So, so
I don't think Vanderbilt or Florida are going to push the buttons, but I definitely think a Kentucky or an Ole Miss are really going to push some buttons.
I'm not sure what Florida's going to do the rest of this year, because every time I think I know what they're going to do, they do the opposite. And mostly I've thought they were going to do well,
It
and
makes my
they
heart feel
don't.
good. Listen, I'm
They're
sorry. I grew up during the Spurrier beatdown days. Anytime Florida's struggling, I smile. Yeah, I can sleep happy every. Georgia could lose, and I'd go, Florida got beat. That's okay.
Yeah, let's go right to that, because up next on the UGA schedule is the University of Kentucky, is it not?
University of Kentucky at home.
Okay,
At
at
home.
home. That's going to help because Kentucky played at home this past week, and they did play the number 22 ranked Florida Gators. I don't know. They must it
I
must be ranked on volleyball or something, because I don't know how
I
they were
could
number
not.
22 coming in.
My side was hurting. I was cackling. Since it is witchy season, I was cackling. Like just looking at that score, like I'm like, you know what? This is my day. It's been made.
Oh, where I was, trust me, all the UGA fans and even me and the Bama fan, we were, every time it would do a game break and it would be like, oh look, Kentucky scored again. We were almost falling off the porch we were all standing on
Oh
and
yes.
sitting on, because I was just like, I can't believe this. What is going on?
Oh yeah. No, that was wild, and you love to see it. As another friend of mine likes to say, love that for them. But Kentucky's a good team. Like they're
Mm-hmm.
coached good.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking good, but this is what Kentucky has looked like the past few years. They're going to end up starting off strong and average the rest of the year. I'm looking at their stats. They're averaging 225 yards passing a game. Georgia can live with that or less. Georgia's proven they can. They get about 171 yards rushing. If Georgia can set an edge against Kentucky, I think they'll be all right. But they have got to set that edge against Kentucky before it gets out of hand. I think Georgia. I mean, they're very similar numbers, but when it comes to that, Kentucky gives up 221 yards and 175 through on the ground. I think Georgia can exploit a lot of that with their rushing attack and their passing game. I don't think Georgia fans should worry too much
No.
but if Georgia comes out sluggish, still no desire to win, then yeah, let's just go ahead and call this what it is. That this is the team that needs to get beat or scraped by the skin of their teeth again. And I mean like 30 to 27, 30 to 28,
Yeah.
31, 31, 30. Like they need to scrape by and while their butts are being walked off the field.
Oh,
And
this
with a kick.
this game could legitimately be 21-20.
Oh, it could. But I'll say this: if you give the ball to Brock, who has an extra gear in the fourth quarter against teams, just feed the rock. Just give him the rock and let your plays extend off of him. He'll draw in double coverage, and guess what? Rah will be past the defense for an easy tutty.
Mm-hmm.
Just scheme those boys open and tell Beck it's time to cook. Go out there and do it.
Yep. Because here's the crazy thing: Kentucky puts up 33 points. Their quarterback, Devin Leary, 9 for 19 for 69 yards. He's a big Gronk fan, and 1 touchdown. So you go, well, how in the world did they do 33 points? Well, Ray Davis, who UGA is going to have to put a couple
Mm-hmm.
hats on a hat here, 26 carries, 280 yards, 3 touchdowns, including a 75-yard run
Mm-hmm.
that was ridiculous. So if you can contain Ray and continue to do some of this and actually be in position, because I
Yeah.
agree that part of why they gave up the yards they did this week was because they were out of position, but it's also why they made some plays because they were out of position.
Mm-hmm.
And the offense wasn't ready to see that. The Auburn offense didn't expect them to be in those places.
No.
But you can't let Ray Davis start early because
No.
if
Mm-mm.
he's going to run for 280 on a Florida team that's just pretty hit or miss up and down all over the place, then if UGA starts slow and you let Ray Davis get 150 yards on the ground in the first half, you're gonna be playing catch up the rest of the day.
George Kirby does not his one of his mantras is you do not run on us. You will not run. Georgia might give up yardage, but you're
Mm-hmm.
not going to let one guy get you for 200 yards rushing. I'm looking at this. Leary does not run the ball.
No.
He literally has negative yards on the year. That tells you that those sneaky plays that Auburn got lucky with because that horseshoe shoved up somewhere that my dad likes
Mm-hmm.
to call, likes to
It was their
say
ear. Their ear. That's what he's
their
talking
ear.
about.
That's what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like they're not gonna be able to do that. Leary's not that guy.
No.
So what's gonna happen? They're gonna just pound the rock with their running back.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna have to because they listen. I've been stuck saying it before. Like Leary should seriously go that 9 for 19 number again.
Yeah.
But the problem is, you say that Georgia ends up blowing it, and their guy throws for 300 against us. But if Georgia sets an edge, their interior can hold off, but they're going to have to work their butts off in practice this week and find a way to will themselves to go, we are that team. We just got to quit playing for a title and play for this game, and our story will be told at the end of the year, not right now.
Exactly. So, uh, score prediction for this game this weekend.
Can I give you two?
Sure. It's
I'll
our
go with
show. We could get
I'll
five.
show
Just
I'll go with a 27 to 24 if it's raining or Georgia's offense comes out like they have been this past few games.
it
And
doesn't rain in Georgia.
it doesn't rain. If Ray Davis runs for like he did.
Mhm.
If Georgia comes out aggressive, sets the edge, lets Beck cook, we are healthier. 35-7, maybe 40. I think in the 40s if we do what we need to, because I mean Kentucky's no slouch when it comes to defense. They're not bad,
Right.
but Georgia has proven before with these teams that they can find an exploitation. Again, Bobo find the weakness and just keep keep cutting that weakness over and over. You do that, it's ball game.
Yeah.
This is the first
Uh,
time I've missed Munkin yet.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say it's gonna be they're gonna make Dog fans sweat it out again. I think 31-24, something like that. I'm gonna give
Yeah.
Kentucky credit. They're gonna find some scores. There's gonna be mistakes made on both sides.
Mhm.
You know, 31-24, 34-24, something like that. Dog fans are going to make you sweat it out again. You get to be in prime time. You're on the four-letter network at 7 p.m. And Georgia's a 14.5 point favorite. I say take the under. I think this is going to be a closer game than that.
Yeah. I'll take the over just
Okay.
because I want to. I want to believe. Call me crazy, but 2 years of seeing what Kirby can do with a football team
Sure.
has me believing that at some point this team will become that team like from last year and the year before that. They all year long in 21 when they won the title, they really didn't have a bad game at all.
Hmm.
It was basically blowout, 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 get beat by Bama, win a title. Whereas last year, big win, struggle, 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 really struggle, blowouts the rest of the way throughout the year outside
Yep.
of the Ohio State game. I think maybe last year's the playbook to take off of. In Bobo's first year coaching these guys using a system that's not his, he just has to learn to find the weakness. That was something Monken was good at. But Monken also did very Bobo head scratching play calling too. Georgia just likes to call him Bobo plays because Georgia fans hated Bobo because of Mark Richt's style of coaching.
Yep.
This is a different team. Give Bobo a break. If this was some other coordinator, Georgia fans wouldn't be crying. They'd just be going, "Okay, Kirby, what'd you do?" But Kirby has earned the benefit of the doubt from the fan base, and I'll stay on this hill until I'm proven wrong and we blow the season because Kirby has earned the right to go, hey, give me a few more weeks to figure this out. I'll let you know when, hey, it ain't happening.
Exactly. And a new segment we're going to kind of throw in on a lot of our
Sure.
shows here on Impact Media, especially in the waning minutes here. It's called Who You Got. There are three games I'm going to mention here that I'm looking at that seem like pretty good matchups. They're all top
Okay.
25 matchups. And just tell me who you got and about a one or two line as to why you see it that
If
way.
you're a Georgia fan, it's called What You Got, Lauren?
Exactly. Let's start with number 10 Notre Dame traveling to number 25 Louisville. This is a 7:30 ABC game. Notre Dame is a 6.5 point favorite.
Only 6.5?
Yeah, that's kind of disrespectful.
That's what they and all right. So I'll apologize.
Hmm.
Oh, that's right. They only beat Duke by 7.
Right, something
Give
like
me
that.
Louis. You know what? I'm gonna have fun. Let's go Louisville on that one, just because I don't think Notre Dame is that. Notre Dame looked great when they were playing weaker opponents. Hartman looked great, but he's come back down to earth.
I like Louisville. I like a lot of things they did. They are 5-0, but give me 5-1 Notre Dame. I still think
Sure.
they're going to be that team that they may not finish in the top four, but they're probably going to get a New Year's Day bowl and they're going to wreck
Oh,
somebody's season.
they will because they're Notre Dame.
They always do.
Eyes are rolling over here. What you got for me now?
Let's go. Number 23 LSU is going to number 21 Missouri. This is an SEC matchup. A noon kickoff on the four letter. They're
Ooh,
all Tigers. So LSU
I was gonna
Tigers.
say, I was gonna say, give me
I
the
was about to say
Tigers.
I was about to say the Tigers have a 6.5 point favorite, but LSU is a 6.5 point favorite on the road.
Give me LSU just because I don't think this Missouri team is the kind of team that's going to pull it out. They're undefeated right now, but this is Drinkwitz. I don't think he's got. I think that's the coach. I don't think Missouri team is one to stress over too much. So I'll take LSU because they got a good quarter. Jaden Daniels is a good quarterback, but they won't. They're not going to. They'll threaten the SEC championship game, but that's about it.
Yeah, I agree. I got the LSU Tigers. I like Missouri. I think Missouri can do a lot of stuff. It's
Hmm.
crazy that LSU is only two rankings below Missouri. Missouri's 5-0, LSU's 3-2. But if you look at their schedules, it's not close. Give me the one with the tougher schedule, LSU.
Yeah,
And
I'm
then
good with that one.
finally, it's the All State. I don't know why it gets its own sponsor. All State Red River Rivalry. You have to say it
Love it.
slow. Number 12, Oklahoma at number 3, Texas. Texas is only a 6.5 point favorite at home.
Jeez, I know that one.
That's a
I'm
that's a
telling.
that's a kick right in the sheriff's star.
It it is like Quinn Ewers, he balled out last game. He didn't get a ton of touchdowns.
He's
They ran
good.
the ball. Ewers is proving just who he is.
Mhm.
I gotta say, Oklahoma last year, remember, they looked terrible, Terry. Terrible. TIBLE, terrible.
Horrible.
They looked horrible. So they got a team this year. I think they got a coach who's finally understanding what he needs to do. That quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, that from transfer from UCF, kid's good. I want to pick Oklahoma because I think there's just good enough chance that they're just good enough. But I wouldn't mind seeing Texas get it because Quinn Ewers is that dude. But
Hmm.
I'll say that give me a 31-30 if this isn't a shootout. But I'm watching the clip right here on ESPN as I'm talking to you. Gabriel throws a beautiful ball. You know what? Screw it. Give me Oklahoma. I'm going to take that video clip right there of Dylan Gabriel throwing the ball. This is going to be a big game for both teams. This is, their final matchup as members of the Big 12. They haven't really played anybody hard this year. They've been blowing stuff out, but let's just go ahead and call an upset.
I
Although
like it.
ESPN's actually picking Oklahoma with 54% to win.
What do they know? We
And
could
they
we could
still
get
think Alabama's #1, so I don't trust them.
we could do a whole show on ESPN's picks. But in the waning minute here, final minute, even though your pick is good and usually a route I like to go, my pick is Texas, and that's all right, all right, all right.
I
Texas is back. I'm trying to tell you, they're going to finish in the
I
top
seriously
four.
think they'll win, but I'm just picking
Yeah, I
Oklahoma
wanna,
for
I wanna.
for parity.
That's usually what I do. Usually I'm that. So I will take Texas. I think they're going to finish in the top four. They may bump the SEC or the Big Ten out this year. There's a chance
hmm
the Final Four doesn't have either one of them. But other than that, we are out of time here on Hunker Down. He is Jake Trash Panda Skinner. I am Jeremy the Impact York. I can still read a screen better than most people. And we will see you guys next week. Let's get a go dogs on the way out.
Everyone have a good week. Go Dogs.